Hello, gamers, and happy Friday. Today, I've got a little something for you. We're going to be talking May update and how do we prepare for the May update? What kinds of things can we be doing to make gold? What should we be stockpiling? What should we have in our pockets? And what things can you really be taking advantage of to properly get a step ahead of the competition in the May update? Now, before we get into that, I want to help you get a step ahead in life. And so that's why I want to introduce today's sponsor, Skillshare. What is Skillshare? Well, if you don't know what Skillshare is, it's definitely time to take a little gamer break, maybe go touch some grass, and head over to this amazing platform. Skillshare is an incredible online learning community that offers thousands of classes to really explore your creativity, develop new skills, and focus on your own personal growth. It doesn't matter what it is, from video editing to cooking to even wilderness survival, Skillshare is there for you to discover what you're really passionate about. For me, I'm an eater, and let's be honest, food is the way to everyone's hearts. But unfortunately, even though I have a high cooking aptitude in New World, my skills in the kitchen are pretty weak. So I went on Skillshare and I dove into creative cooking, simple sauces to elevate every meal with Khalees, and this was life-changing. Khalees made it so easy to cook side by side and emphasized how important a sauce can be to really improving my cooking skills. And in 10 short lessons, she somehow managed to turn me into a 5-star Michelin chef. So, just like me, you can start exploring new skills because the first 1,000 people that click the link in my description or use my code will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare. Alrighty, so now that you're properly prepared for life, let's get you properly prepared for the May update, arenas, everything that's coming. So, we're focused on getting a step ahead of everybody else and maximizing gold and saving you the most money, but regardless, really focused on that income piece. So what are the big changes coming in the patch that you need to prepare for? Well, one, I'm just going to pull up some prices here just because while I talk this through, it's going to make more sense, but orichalcum ore, okay? In general, for those of you, orichalcum is sitting at about 3. It has significantly gone down. It's continuing to go down, and during the day, it goes down as low as 280. People are starting to realize that orichalcum ore is going to be less expensive after the patch, that and star metal ore, because they are increasing the spawn rates for both orichalcum ore and star metal ore. So all of the nodes, they're just going to be at quicker respawns, meaning there's going to be more in circulation. What does that mean for you? Well, if you're holding onto a bunch of ori, start selling it now because it's going to be worth less in the future. If you're holding onto a bunch of star metal, the same thing goes. Sell it now before it goes less in the future. What else is going to happen though? So if we think about it, if there's more orichalcum nodes, what else is there more of? Well, Tolvium and Cinnabar. So these are worth about 20 now. They have decreased in price and they continue to decrease in price, Cinnabar as well. But again, since there's more nodes, there's more of a chance for you to get these legendary materials. Now, one caveat to this is a lot of people may say, well, Lemoni, they are reducing the rates at which these are dropped in proficiency caches, that being for mining and smelting. But since there's so many nodes, there's just going to be a lot more of it. What else does that mean? Well, if orichalcum is going to be cheaper, so more ingots are going to be cheaper. More cinnabar and tolvium, those are going to be cheaper. More star metal, which is also used to make orichalcum, so that's cheaper in general, right? So that's why the ingots are cheaper. But what do all three of these things make? Asmo makes the world go round. Asmodeum is also starting to go down in price. Again, there will be lower and lower and lower Asmodeum prices because all three of those things, yes, this is a daily cooldown, so it still will retain some of its value. Don't get me wrong. But again, all of these will decrease, meaning this has to decrease. So what would I suggest? I would highly suggest selling your Asmo now as opposed to selling it later or holding it, because at the price you're going to be able to sell it now compared to a week or two after the patch, you'll probably be able to make some or buy some and still have a ton of profit left over. So I would highly suggest selling your Asmo now. We're going to get into some other stuff regarding Asmo and gearing and things like that nature, but first I want to touch on the other major refining material change if we go to Ironhide. So right now on the PTR, what they're doing is they're going to make Ironhide a lower drop rate because they're going to reduce its level range to the 55 plus, I believe, is what can drop Ironhide. So what does that mean for you? If you're stockpiling Ironhide, I would highly suggest continue to stockpile it, right? And probably not a lot of people out there stockpiling it, but I would not start dumping your Ironhide right now. It's already starting to increase in price. But what I would do personally, and again, I can't 100% confirm this, but I think there's a solid chance. What you could be doing is setting buy orders for Ironhide. Now, some of you might be saying, well, it's very, very, very heavy. You know, you can't set that much. What would I do? I would go to a place where I have an empty storage shed, and then I would put in 10,000 buy orders over and over and over and over and over again, if I were you, and purchase as much Ironhide as you can, because if you set buy orders, your storage shed can go overflow in capacity as long as you were able to set the buy order in the first place. Meaning you can sit on like 200,000 Ironhide if you really, really wanted to. It might take some time to move that product, but you are sure to have a profit somewhat, depending on how much you buy. So that's a suggestion if you're looking just for some easy money, something I would say. But in general, Ironhide will start to increase in price. And again, this isn't going to be right away. It is going to be weeks, days, I'm not sure, after the patch. It depends on how much and how fast we start blowing through some of this, just because it will be a little bit more difficult to obtain. Same thing goes for Scarhide and Smolderhide. If we're reducing the level of what we can get it from, means it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And obviously there's like higher endgame farms for these. But again, it will still be more difficult, and they are reducing these from proficiency caches as well, meaning these prices will go up. So what does that mean? Same thing. We go back to what else makes the world go round, runic leather, everything for crafting. This price will also increase. So I would start holding on to this as opposed to selling it like I would suggest for Asmo. So this will be harder to obtain. Asmo and Orichalcum of everything else will be pretty much the opposite. Now, as far as like Phoenix Weave goes, I think that's like that should be pretty stable. Skillcloth and Blister Weave, those should retain their price somewhat, but again, these are going to be a little bit more difficult to obtain just because they are reducing the amount you get from a proficiency cache. So there is that to keep in mind, but the majority of people who get these, they get them on chest runs, they get them out in the world while harvesting, all kinds of stuff like that. So I really don't think Phoenix Weave is going to change too much. Next, let's talk crafting mods. So if you weren't aware, something on the PTR right now is the fact that we can be turning hybrid craft mods into primary mods. So what does this mean? For instance, take this fetish. Okay, this is one of my favorites, personal favorite here. It is an int con hybrid mod. So if I get 5 of these, I can either make the int crafting mod, just straight int, so the scholar mod, or I can make an Iron Guardsman medallion. And again, if we look at these, and I'm 5 of them, right now, if I were to buy 5 of these, it'd cost me about 35 gold. And if I look at Iron Guardsman price, can't spell, we're sitting at about 200 gold, which these are kind of cheap. I'm just going to go flip them myself. But sitting at about 290, that's really cheap right now. They're generally at 300, but I think these are already starting to decrease in price. If you do that and you start buying these hybrid mods, and again, it can be any of them that are con, anything. It can be focus con, strength con strength, any of the hybrids, as long as it says con in there, you can use 5 of them to craft an Iron Guardsman insignia. And the same thing goes for battle medals, right? If we look up the battle medal right now, the Iron Battle Medal, these are sitting at about 75. Again, these are pretty low, to be honest with you. And they're typically in the 99, 100 range. These will get bought out. I'm not going to buy them right now because I don't want to ruin this for people. But these are also probably going to be very profitable. So what would I be doing if I were you? I would be looking for strength hybrid mods, the cheaper strength hybrid mods, and the cheaper con related hybrid mods. Put in buy orders for them. Buy them low. What do you think they'll be going for? That's your call. Personally, I don't foresee an Iron Guardsman ever going under 100 gold, and I think that could be your point of profitability, making sure that you're always hitting that 100 gold threshold if you were to buy 5. That's what I would suggest. But there's going to be a ton of room for profit here because people are always trying to roll gear, and what do they always try to roll it with? Iron Guardsmen, so that they can get the most profitability from it so that most people can use it. Again, if you want to keep trying to go for things, I think strength is your next best option because the sage beads, the dex ones, and the int ones, they all don't sell nearly as much. They're about half of this, so they're not as much in terms of profitability if you're really trying to get the gold there. Now, what else can you be doing? The thing is, if you're going to be crafting these in Iron Guardsmen's, suspended vials of Azoth. Now, a lot of us have some stockpiled here, but some of you may have been noticing that these prices are starting to increase. They were 4 gold this morning. They're up to 6 gold now. They're starting to increase because you need 20 Azoth every time you craft one of those craft mods. It's a new Azoth sync of the game. So what does that mean? Well, if I'm going to craft like 100 of these mods at a time, I'm going to be blowing through a ton of Azoth, meaning I'm going to have to buy vials. And at the point of like, I have probably 800 stockpiled. you're going to blow through those pretty fast, just going through your own craft mods that you've had stockpiled or the ones that you're buying. And so this price will start to go up, meaning you can start to take advantage of some of those cooking farms or other Azoth farms to farm up these vials and add some extra gold to your bundle of farming. But again, this should increase. I would highly believe, just because it was 1 gold like 2 weeks ago, and I think there's also room here for some profit. What else can we be doing in the domain of craft mods? I honestly think with bows getting stronger, you could maybe look for some bow craft mods, but personally, none of the bow perks are all that great. You might see some people running a couple of them or starting to roll some gold with them, or just roll some gear with whatever they can find and just test some things, but we'll have to see. The one I will say is too, if you can get the one for Refreshing Divine Embrace, there might be some room for profit there if you start to buy them low, because a lot of people are going to be rolling that gear as far as healers go, because that will be better than LE and they'll be switching to that type of gear. Now, in terms of craft mods, there's always, if you think about it, I know I'm being rather general, not giving you specific mods, but this is more of a call to action for you. Think about where the meta is. Think about how the meta has shifted and where things are going currently. If you look at the craft mods right now on live, you typically can buy some of these crazy craft mods for a significantly lower price, and then you can flip them, right? But specifically the ones where PTR is the focus of these builds. So a lot of spear ones, bow ones, like a Refreshing Divine Embrace, like I was saying. If you can buy out these markets or buy them low, you can definitely flip them well into the patch for sure. I can almost guarantee that. But now what I really want to focus on is more so BIS gear, okay? So when I'm saying BIS gear, like for instance, I'll just throw up something just so we have a metaphorical example here. As far as necks go, okay, like we'll say a Health Divine neck. Let's find a nice solid Health Divine neck that we can use for an example. So this is one of the best rolls that people look for. If we're looking 3 perk, boom, 450,000 Health Divine Fortified. Personally, I'd be selling this in trade chat. I would never sell something like this in on the market. That's just my opinion. But in terms of why would I be selling my BIS gear now? Couple things. Well, one, and this is a not the big reason why, but if you think about it, Asmo prices and other prices, they're going to be fluctuating, but specifically Asmo, so like the heavy pieces in the jewelry, that's going to affect the price slightly, but as well as Iron Guardsmen. Iron Guardsmen will go down significantly in price, not that there's other avenues to actually craft them, which I think is a good thing for the most part. But what does that mean? Not only are those materials required to craft the item cheaper, meaning it could influence the price, 3 perk BIS is still very good and people will pay gold cap for it. But if everything is cheaper, if we have significantly cheaper Asmo, we have significantly cheaper Iron Guardsmen, we have, everything at our disposal, people are going to be rolling more gear, right? And if I get to the point where it's like, hey, I can now roll like 3 to every 1 that I used to be able to roll, there's going to potentially be more BIS items in the market, right? So there's going to be more Health Divine Fortified necks. There's going to be more Refreshing Resil perk gear, because there will strictly be more rolls happening. So if you have the opportunity, you're sitting on something, you're like, man, maybe I'll wait for the patch, I can't decide. I personally would sell that item now, because a couple weeks into the patch, that item should be significantly less money. That's my personal opinion and why I'd be selling BIS. As far as other things you could be doing for gear, I'm going to let you in on a hot healer tip, okay? So with the changes to LE, Refreshing Divine Embrace, personally, I think will become the meta. I do not foresee myself using Light's Embrace, and for anybody who's interested, it's just reducing the cooldown on Divine Embrace when the target's below 50% health, which then allows you to proc your bounce heal. But a lot of healers will be switching to this, meaning if we could start sniping some gear, I don't know, I'll say Refreshing Divine Embrace, that's a mouthful, and we just look for a piece of gear. We have a Focus, Refreshing Divine Embrace, Refreshing Boot. This perfectly fits my set for what I need, because most healers have it on their boots, especially if they're running Sagacious. So I'm going to buy this right now. I can guarantee you these boots will be significantly more into the patch. That was 3K I spent on a healer-focused, Refreshing Divine Embrace piece that I know will retain its value and exceed what it is of that 3K that I just spent. So that's an item you could be looking to snipe. But I would also say start looking for more spear gear, dex gear, bow gear, even maybe musk gear. There's going to be a lot more dex players just with the bow buff, and maybe not musket, but a lot more dex players, meaning be looking, and with the spear buff, be looking for things that complement them. Specifically dex related gear for those builds, but as well as, certain perks that go well with the setups. So that is another thing you can really take advantage of to maximize profit as far as sniping gear goes. The next thing I want to talk about, infused potions. So if you haven't noticed and you're living under a rock and you haven't touched Skillshare yet, boom, infused potions are starting to increase. Mana potions used to be like 70 cents like 2 weeks ago. They're up already a whole gold. Why is that? They are going to be harder to get. They're reducing the drop rate from PvE. These drop a ton in chests, from mobs, from everything, meaning their prices will continue to rise. So what would I be doing right now? I'd be sitting here doing stuff like this, especially me as a healer who blows through thousands of these, right? I go through thousands of mana potions in a week when I'm queuing my OPR, when I'm doing stuff like this. But what's the other thing? Right now, even on live, I could be taking these and now flipping them because people will buy these. People buy these straight up right away. And just to even keep going, infused health potions, right? These are even more expensive. We're looking at 9 gold per. Even if I'm buying these at 742 a piece, I just set that up. These will fill. Guaranteed it will fill. I could flip these to make a whole 2 gold profit per potion, right? So that's 200 gold. I mean, obviously there's taxes and things, but you can be doing that. But even then, if you just start holding on to them into the future, spend a little bit of money on these will be worth more as we keep going. Again, I don't need to put in these ones. I don't really feel like doing this one. But if you have a stockpile, hold on to them for the long haul, just a little bit longer, maybe a week or 2, 3 weeks maybe into the May patch, and see how much they're worth. Again, I don't think it's that hard of a gamble, and I will say that these will start to increase. People will be crafting them more. They'll be looking for them. It's going to be harder to get them because there's just going to be less out in circulation. And the last thing I would also say, and this one is not really the big ticket one like the other ones, but the Depths Mutator is coming. So what's going to be happening? Well, if we look up Corrupted Coding, right now a Corrupted Coding, if I can finish that, if you use Corrupted Coding, 54 gold, there's going to be a lot of players, and this isn't going to be right away on patch day, but this is going to be when the Depths Mutator comes in. There's going to be a lot of players that are like, ooh, you know, the Depths, I loved that expedition. I want to try it on mutated mode. Sorry, yes, I am still playing. I'm just talking a lot because I'm long-winded. But they're gonna be like, I want to try it. So returning players, people trying it out, end game players who are still playing, people are going to need these coatings, and they need 2 coatings per. And, you know, they might do infused, they might do the strong corrupted coating. And again, there's still profitability here. Okay, these ones not as much, but the higher tier players, they're going to be looking for the tier 4, tier 5. How much the tier 4s? 4 gold. Again, there's still going to be some room for profitability because people will be buying these just to get through it. You might honestly see a flip for powerfuls. If you're a big whale and you want to spend, you could buy out this whole market, reset it. All right, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying it's possible. So people will be looking for things like that. So look out for that. But I think the other big one is if we do the Corrupted Combat Trophy and look at like the major Corrupted Combat Trophy. PvE people, they need these. They love these. They want them to push this kind of content. So they will be looking for these types of things, especially as more people are looking to go into the depths and start to push that. And even more so once we have all kinds of leaderboards and things like that. So if you want to spend some time farming the Corrupted Totem, trying to get it out there, go ahead. It's just going to be another avenue that you could properly prepare for this patch and get some stuff ready. Maybe you want to have it for yourself with the depths coming. Maybe you want to try and make some money off of it. Totally up to you. But that is everything I can possibly think of. So let's just do a little TLDR, right? You weren't paying a ton of attention. Let's do a quick recap. What is all going to be profitable? Ori and Star Metal related things. Sell your ore now, but sell Tolvium and Cinnabar now as well, because it's going to be more abundant if you want to make profit off of that. Basically, as well, because all of those things are going to be cheaper, Asmo will be cheaper. So I would suggest selling your Asmo now, in addition to all of that, because in a couple weeks, you'll probably be able to buy more Asmo than you could have if you just sell it now. And yeah, you won't have it right away, but there is some room for profit there. As far as Ironhide goes, Ironhide is going to be harder to get, meaning Scarhide and Smolderhide harder to get, meaning all those prices will go up. You can do some stockpiling if you want to run that risk. Might not be the most profitable, but there's an option there. Runic Leather, you could maybe start buying some Runic Leather, stockpiling it. That should increase in price as well, just because of everything else increasing in price. Scale Cloth, Blister Weave, Phoenix Weave should stay pretty much the same. As far as craft mods go, look for hybrid craft mods for con and strength if you want to make profit. And then there's also the option for Azoth files if you have a good farm for that. Look for craft mods like for the bow, Refreshing Divine Embrace, but whatever you think is going to be in the meta. Spear ones would be good. And then as far as that goes, BIS Gear. Sell your BIS Gear now because more people will be crafting BIS Gear because it's going to be easier to, cheaper to, and there's more options to actually do that. Look for items that you can snipe as well for the meta, like Refreshing Divine Embrace gear like I just bought. I bought that pair of Refreshing Divine Embrace refreshing boots. I can guarantee you they will be worth more than 3K after the patch. That is an absolute guarantee from me, cashback guarantee if you don't believe me. And then infused potions, they're nerfing the drop rate, so those will be more expensive. And then the depths mutator, you can get coatings, tinctures, trophies, all that stuff if you'd like to really prepare for it. But as always, I appreciate every single one of you watching. Hit the Skillshare link below if you're interested. Hit me up on Twitch if you want to ask me any questions. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting around 10:30 a.m.-ish Central Time. We'll probably start going a little bit earlier here. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But if you need anything in the meantime, leave a comment, DM me on Discord, or hit me up in game. But as always, I appreciate everything. I hope this helps you get ahead. Step in life is step in game. And again, reach out if you need me. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you to every single one of you beautiful people for being you. Peace.